And so I think today we're going to talk a bit like how our maker community in southern China nowadays. So what do you think? And
So what I see is at this moment it's very, very active. So our space is totally full right now. Of course it's October, so October, November for us is always a busy season. Also the springtime, and then after Christmas, let's say, and Chinese New Year, it's a little bit lower.
right,
But of course, like for us, our audience is mostly international makers coming to China for product development. I cannot compare that with the local makers who live here. But for them, their routine can be very different than the international makers.
yeah, I was in your studio. I think it's great because you provide all kind of equipment for those maker from all over the world, basically to do experiments and then turn into product. I think it's a great community that not only for foreigner but also for the local to interact. I mean, with them in that space, and also as for in Guangzhou, I also see more and more space like for tech people, and especially last time I was in your company, and it's super cool machine over there, and the tool and equipment. So, how about you also like introduce a little bit like how you gathering those top students in your place to build this kind of tool?
Actually, that's what we are doing right now. What we are doing right now is that we are offering like children aging from like 3 to 18 years old, giving them a platform, teaching them how to build things by their hands. And it's kind of a very mature like growth path that we have like, how do we say that? We have made it up. Actually, it's a knowledge. The knowledge behind the concept is formed by a lot of professors, scholars with very international like educational path. So it's kind of very like diverse and embracing that, so that like students from different age, different background, different educational background can also find something that they can learn and make some difference at least for themselves. And funny thing is that once they can achieve something by their hands, it can be a kind of like very positive motivation that they can try to achieve better at school. And that's exactly what's happening to our students. And then it's a kind of a very like cohesive like process that if your students are doing fine here and then they'll doing better here and then they'll kind of like spread the news to their friends around them. So which saved a lot of money for us in the promotional or advertisement, so that basically we're living by the advertisements of our students from inside rather than from like outside.
I think Waris is doing a very good thing. All the innovation would come from the makerspaces. And that didn't really happen. It happened, but not in a scale like justify the investment. But as soon as the government started to invest the money in creating makerspaces in schools, the mind of young students is still malleable. They're still open for innovative ideas and to learn working by their hands. While the adult people are usually not as flexible anymore. What I know, if you teach kids to be open about failure, because that's what you do when you make with your hands. You make mistakes and you learn.
Yeah.
And you don't see it as a failure. You see it as something that a process what you need to go through to become better. Then if you create this mindset that failure is not failure but it's a learning moment, they become more creative and less afraid to make mistakes when they're adult. So I think you're creating the next generation of local people who will make this country really powerful. You will not need to import creative talent from abroad anymore because you are creating it for here.
Yeah, I think when we talk about this topic, often people in China they might just think that how students can balance between like school examination and also creativity of the school. I mean, you have help lots of students to pursuing those tech things. So how you see those students or even their parents to balance this aspect?
I would say it's your personal capability. You know, like time is limited, and you have to at least develop the skill of like time management. Actually, you have a very guaranteed, like specific, let's say, you have to spend 8 hours at school. And how many hours are there that you can apply to for your own like personal use? For example, like this is the first knowledge or lesson that we teach our kids that we have to learn from. For now, the instance we're using is from like MIT's time management, like schedule calendar.
Yeah.
So like we have to teach them, yeah, this is what we are gonna do, and in your situation, we want you to accomplish this. So this is the prerequisite, right? So in this case, how are you going to like settle down? How are you going to like balance between your study and work? Since this is also a teamwork, so we have to guarantee that everybody needs to like show up. We don't want to fail just because of your absence. So this is the must one guarantee. In that situation, they're basically learning from having fun, and they think this is something that really want to do, and then they also like have to go to school tomorrow. So in that case, what am I gonna do? I have to finish my work as soon as possible so that I can go there and do what I love, and then so that next time I go to school, I don't get punishment from my teacher at all. So this is the kind of mindset that we will try to plant in students, but it takes time for them to like understand it themselves.
I think, first of all, of course, the pressure here in China for study is much higher than in the West. We don't have any like this. It's very, very easy and laid back, and everything is focused on the development of the child and creativity. And what I see here is that the pressure is being put so much because the government doesn't need everyone to be an engineer. So they want to filter out the children from based on their capacity. And what I also see is that some parents who are able to help their child, they actually help do the homework of the child so the child doesn't get punished. What we do is that we don't care too much about you finish all your homework every day. We care that you focus on the part where you are less good at, so you practice that. But the parts which you're already good at, you already get A's, you don't necessarily, for us, you don't really necessarily need to finish that homework. Because in the school system, a lot of things are being repeated many times. Because the system is, you go with the speed of the slowest student. And that means that the faster students, they find it very boring. We put our children every day of the week in after-school activities. Flying, chess, building, engineering stuff, coding. Because we think that developing these skills will eventually make them more flexible.
Yeah, that's true. It sounds more like not only the student's mindset, it's also about the parents' mindset. It's like at very young age, it's all about like how their parents evaluate the performance of their children. Is it only based on the scores that you get from school, or they want something that, for example, like we do have like offline courses for children from different age groups, and when their parents see that their young kids are capable of doing something by their hands, and within a 40 or 50 minute of class they can build something on their own, and they feel like enjoying the process, they're so glad to see that. So for that instance, like we have created a very like standardized online courses, which is like kind of based on the natural growth, especially for like kids for like primary school. We have planted some kind of like physical knowledge in a very natural way that you don't have to think too much to understand that knowledge. So it's kind of everything is taken a step ahead, so that when you reach the middle school, you don't feel kind of stressed out, because these are very like abstract knowledge. They're kind of, so how to combine the abstract knowledge and make it more apparent, that is what we focus on. So by creating something and seeing what the theory means, in that case, like you will love learning something more, and that creates a very like positive circle that you can like, which can accompany you like forever.
Okay, so since the AI thing becomes so hot topic nowadays, and this is the last question I want to like end in this interesting chat. So what do you think?
So AI already exists for a very long time,
Right.
maybe even for 100 years. And
So we are at the beginning point, right?
but
now,
we are
yeah?
we are at the beginning point where this become accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
So now we can, let's say, just tell it or write it what to do, and it will help us. And I would suggest parents or teachers and guiders to give children the opportunity to experiment.
Right.
Because the AI, what we will see in 5 or 10 years from now, will be totally different from this. Compare China now with China 20 years ago. So we are now in 20 years ago China when we look at the AI. It seems very modern and very powerful, and it is, but it's nothing compared to what it will be in 5, 10 or 20 years from now. So at this moment, all you can do is give your child all the opportunity to play with it in a safe environment. If I would work with my child, for example, on DeepSeek, I will work together with them. But there do exist curated AI platforms created specifically for children. Let's say more safe, a little bit restricted, but for children that's good. So that at least they can get their hands dirty,
Yeah.
practice, and see what they can create. And they will come up with very different things than we come up with because their
Right.
mind is still,
Different way of working.
yes.
How about you?
Well, I think since like the AI related stuff are like moving forward so rapidly, there will be like two categories of people. One is the developer of AI, the other one is the user of AI. What we are doing now is that we are creating more and more developers.
Okay, great. Okay, so thank you. Thanks for you guys' input into this conversation. So I think I'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, bye.